This is THV 11 News at 6.
Authorities are now one step closer to solving a more than 30-year-old cold case. Conway County Sheriff's Office and state police have positively identified Jamie Moore as the victim of a homicide in 1994. Her body was found on October 24th, 1994, along railroad tracks near Highway 64 between Morrilton and Plummerville. Today's discovery comes nearly 10 years after the Conway County Quorum Court provided funds to help in forensic studies. Authorities are now working leads to find the person responsible. Thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Brooke Buckner. 1 month ago, a rodeo arena came crashing down under the weight of ice. And tonight, the scene looks very different. THV 11's Tanya Motorzitsky spent the day in Saline County and has an update on the rebuilding process.
Last month, part of the Saline County Fairgrounds collapsed due to the weight of the ice from the winter storm. Today, the ice is long melted away. The weather is spring-like and crews are back to work at the fairgrounds.
Clear out all the damaged areas and see it just so that we can see. I mean, there is going to be some structural work that we're going to have to do just to make sure that we're back into ground zero of the open arena. We'll look at that. Looks, this week we've done some preliminary, looking and deciding what we think of them.
Dustin Parsons with the Saline County Fair Association says the plan is to have an open arena and to hopefully reopen within the next few weeks.
Now, how long we'll be in the open arena, we're not really for sure. That all depends on supply cost, supply and demand, basically, when it comes to building materials.
Parsons says so far everything is going smooth with no issues, while plans on what the new setup will look like are still unclear. He's remaining optimistic and says they'll be ready to open their gates up real soon.
I'm very optimistic that everything will come back to where we need it to be. We don't think that anything should stop us for having an arena. I mean, not an arena, but a full fair and rodeo this fall. Now, things might look a little different.
In Saline County, where progress is underway, I'm Tanya Motorzitsky, THV 11 News.
Tanya, thank you. Parsons says for events scheduled in advance, they're on a month-by-month basis to see if any rescheduling needs to happen. They'll be reassessing again in mid-March, but are hopeful they'll be open by then. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Tom Brandon now. Tom, we're getting some damage reports into our newsroom at the moment. It was a nice day in Little Rock, but not for everyone in the state.
Well, it became not nice. Just within the last couple of hours, there's an upper air disturbance moving across the region, and it's interacting with a little bit of instability and some moisture that we have. And so we've got these little pockets of storms. Yeah, I just saw a photo from a downed tree that may have caused some damage. That was up toward the Romance or Rosebud area in central Arkansas, where they had a pretty good storm move through not long ago. What you're looking at is the storm developing in southern Lonoke County. It's non-severe, but it developed in Pulaski County, then died down. Now it's beginning to redevelop, and we'll keep an eye on that. Here's the only warnings that we have. We've got Monroe and Prairie until 6:15, and then there's another cell that's over southern Faulkner County that also shows some signs of holding together. That storm could produce some hail as well. As far as radar is concerned, we're looking at just a couple of three cells that could produce some hail. Here it is right here. This is quarter to possibly ping pong ball sized hail over in central Prairie County. So you can tell why they have our attention. We'll have storms tonight. They'll wind on down. Better weather ahead for tomorrow. I'll have that forecast here shortly.
Thank you, Tom. For at least a year and a half, some firefighters in Little Rock have started their shifts dreading the day ahead. Not because of the dangers of the job, but because of how they will have to respond when they're called. A THV 11 investigation has been looking into the number of times crews had to respond to fires not on their assigned fire engines or ladder trucks, but in pickup trucks instead. It happens when their normal equipment breaks down or needs maintenance, and the city doesn't have a reserve unit to take its place. And thanks to inflation and the age of the city's fleet, it happens a lot.
In 2021, federal government released some American Rescue Funds. Our mayor, our city board of directors voted to extend some of those funds to purchase a few fire trucks because we knew we were facing an aging fleet.
Investigation revealed an example came on New Year's Eve 2024 at the deadly Midtown Park apartment fire. Join THV11's Rolly Hoyt tonight at 10 to hear the reasons for the crisis and what the city is doing to solve it. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is moving to update federal rules governing poultry processing line speeds. Under the proposal, chicken plants could run lines at up to 175 birds per minute, while turkey processors could operate at 60 birds per minute. The USDA says the changes aim to cut costs, ease regulations, and build a more efficient and resilient food supply. But the executive director of a Springdale-based workers' rights group warns faster line speeds could put employees at greater risk.
Some companies or some poultry plants, not all the plants, got this waiver to increase the line speed from 140 birds per minute to 174 birds per minute. Obviously, workers develop carpal tunnel syndrome, muscular problems with their hands. They get deformed, and sometimes amputations.
She notes plants are already operating near 170 birds per minute under current industry standards. The USDA is accepting public comment on the proposal through April 20th. Gambling companies FanDuel and DraftKings might soon be operating in Arkansas after a major decision today. The gambling giants put in their applications to operate in the state last week, and tonight the state's racing commission decided on them. THV11's Carter Thweet was in the room when it happened and explains the new potential partnerships and why it didn't come without some controversy. Carter?
That's right, Brooke. FanDuel will be serving as a vendor, essentially helping out with Oaklawn Casino's new mobile app. And the same thing goes for DraftKings and Southland. The Arkansas Racing Commission approved this arrangement today, despite Saracen Casino's opposition.
We're expecting it to grow about 5 times what it is today.
Oaklawn General Manager Wayne Smith says Arkansas's gambling revenue will skyrocket with this deal. It'll see FanDuel acting as a vendor for a new mobile app by Oaklawn, helping them with betting lines, app infrastructure, and more.
If you have the backing of a national company like FanDuel, and in their case DraftKings, I think really helps expedite, as I mentioned, expedite that 5x growth.
In exchange for serving as a vendor on these new apps, FanDuel will get a percentage of the revenue. Same for DraftKings with Southland. But the decision didn't come without controversy. Carlton Safa with Saracen, the state's other casino, made an impassioned plea for the Racing Commission to turn it down.
We have a system that is working for Arkansas. It is one that others want to replicate. If you allow this, you will break that system.
Safa pointed out several reasons, claiming that Oaklawn and Southland were against partnering with out-of-state entities just 5 years ago. He also said caution was needed so as to not violate the 51% rule, that 51% of the revenue from any partnership must stay with the in-state casino.
Are they showing their work on how they can comport with the 51 rule? That's a serious and sincere question, because they told you this was impossible just a few years ago.
But the commission didn't see anything in the agreements that violates the law and voted unanimously to approve them. Afterwards, a spokesperson for the Department of Finance and Administration told me just how fast things could start moving.
In a matter of days, maybe a couple of weeks, if you are using one of those two apps, then you'll soon see an entirely new framework. I mean, it'll be ultimately, you'll see FanDuel technology or DraftKings technology.
And that spokesperson tells me that the department will have auditors in the casinos to make sure that the 51% rule is followed. The Department of Finance and Administration doesn't have an official position on the issue, but the spokesperson did say they expect more tax revenue for Arkansas as a result of this change.
Thank you, Carter. At the state capitol, lawmakers are celebrating Arkansas music legend Johnny Cash. Thanks to legislation passed in 2021, February 26th is named in honor of the Man in Black's lasting impact on Arkansas and the nation. The bill was sponsored by Representative Johnny Rye and Senator David Wallace, who were there for the proclamation as one of Cash's cousins who spoke on his legacy.
I learned a whole lot from my cousin JR. I learned a whole lot about how to live and how not to. Johnny Cash never quit, and I'm not going to give up either. And I think that is the life and the legacy of Johnny Cash. Don't give up.
The music legend died in 2003 at the age of 71. He's one of 2 Arkansans to have a statue at the U.S. Capitol. The other is civil rights leader Daisy Bates. It was a momentous day when it comes to education in the Little Rock Metro. The last desegregation case before a federal judge has concluded, with Judge Price Marshall declaring the PCSSD unitary. It ends 43 years of litigation aimed at leveling education disparities between black and white students. The judge's order complements efforts to improve facilities at Mills University High School and getting them to match those at Robinson High School. Folks in Jacksonville are preserving history as they get ready to reopen the Jacksonville Historical Museum. It's been closed for nearly 2 years, but now Lyda Feller, Jerry Sanders, and about 20 other volunteers are bringing it back, this time in a new location. You can expect to learn about the city's founder and leaders through the years, as well as prominent people who grew up in Jacksonville. Feller says she hopes people in the community will learn something new about the city, especially the kids.
With me having pancreatic cancer, this is my bucket list. This is what I want it done because I don't care about traveling or anything, but I wanted something that would be helpful to the people, to the kids.
The museum is free to visit and opens this Sunday. It's located at 201 West Main Street in Jacksonville. Changes are coming to the Little Rock Airport, what you need to know before you fly after the break.
And just now, a new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for the counties of Arkansas, Monroe, Prairie, and Woodruff. You see the double box there in southeast Arkansas, and that is because that cell is drifting out of one box into an area that didn't have a warning. The main threat's going to be some hail, possibly wind gusts of 60 plus. After the break, we've got some video from BB to show you of the hail earlier this afternoon and talk about a better forecast for the weekend.